Hi everyone, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. In today's video, we're going to be talking all about my top blushes that I would reach for on a daily basis. These are the ones that I just feel are super flattering on my skin. There is a range of shades to choose from, including a matte finish and also a more radiant, very flattering but non-sparkly finish. So we're going to get cracking straight in this video, but before I do, I'm just going to be concentrating on those powder blushes today. When I was collating all my favourite blushes, and if you've been around for quite a long time on my channel, you will know that blush is my favourite item of makeup. It just really brings a look together and can really elevate it to the next level. I have a lot of blushes that I like. So while I was collating all these blushes together, I realised that if I was going to put all my cream blushes, my liquid blushes and my powder blushes in one video, we would be still sat here in 2022. So I thought I would split it. So today is the turn of the powder blushes, and I'm going to separate this into two videos and put my liquids and my creams in another video. So that will be coming very soon. So without further ado, let's get on with this video. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload 2 to 3 videos here on YouTube every single week. I'm also on Instagram if you fancy following me over there as well. And I would seriously appreciate it if by the end of this video you've enjoyed what you've watched, you've been entertained, you found it useful in some way, you come and join the Pampered Wolf Pack by clicking on that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Okay, so there will be a mixture of both cool tone and warm tone preferences in this video. Because of my neutral undertone to my skin, I feel like I can get away with wearing both cool and warm toned blushes. I guess it depends on what eyeshadow I'm wearing that day. If it's a cool toned eyeshadow, I tend to go for a cool tone blush. Warm toned eyeshadow, warm tone blush. If you feel like you can only get away with a cool toned blush or a warm tone blush, I will link all my preferences in the description box and put either a W in brackets if it's a warm tone blush and a C in brackets if it's a cool tone blush. If my preference in a particular blush that I've listed is cool toned and you really want a warm toned, there definitely will be one within that brand and that particular blush. It's just that that's not my particular shade, but you will be able to find that online. Okay, so let's jump straight into the matte blushes. Now, there are very few of these that are my preference. I do like a little bit of radiance to the skin, but these are the ones that are going to be slightly more airbrushing. They are not a flat matte. They are very natural matte, so they're going to be very flattering on the skin. They also don't look powdery on me, so if you're one of those people that really doesn't like powder on the skin, I feel that all of these options really melt into the skin and look one with the skin rather than looking like powder that's sitting on the top of the skin. So my favourite matte blush of the moment is from Pat McGrath. Now, recently I was told I was pronouncing the name wrong, so I looked it up and sure enough, I've been pronouncing it wrong for a really long time. So it's not Pat McGrath. Apparently, the TH is silent, it's Pat McGrath. Who knew? Anyway, so this is one of her Skin Fetish Divine blushes in the shade Fleurtatious. This is one of the most beautiful blushes I have ever had on my skin. It suits my fair skin tone down to the ground. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is a cool toned blush, but there are warm tone blushes in the matte collection that Pat McGrath has just launched. So there will be something for everybody. I find this seriously smoothing on the skin, silky smooth, really easy to blend out, also really easy to build, which is really important when you're looking at something for such a fair skin tone. I love it. I absolutely love it. These definitely are an investment. They are pricey, but they're going to last a really long time. So for me, they're worth the investment, especially as I feel like blush is the most important part of any makeup look. Until I'm talking about another makeup item, and then that'll probably be the most important part of any makeup look. Moving on. If you're wanting something more affordable, you cannot go wrong with NYX. This is one of the Sweet Cheeks blushes in a matte finish. They also do these in a radiant finish as well, but I just feel for me, they've got slightly too much sparkling, and I like something that's a little bit more muted on the sparkle end. So I like the matte versions of these. This one is in the shade Daydream. It's a lovely, warm toned, corally pink shade. I really, really like it. It's very flattering on my skin. Again, this doesn't look like powder on the surface of the skin. It melts into the skin. It's super, super pigmented, but very easy to blend. You cannot go wrong. I have this in several shades and I really like it. And the last matte blush in this video goes to number 7. This is one of their powder blushes in the shade Peach Velvet. It's divine. It really is. This is just so lush. The quality of this shadow is silky smooth, it's velvety, it's just really up there in quality, and you're not paying the luxurious price tag. You don't get masses of product, you only get 3 grams of product, but I just feel like I don't go through blush, even though I wear a lot of it. It does take me a long time to hit pan on any of the blushes that are in my collection. I really like this. I would say this has more of a neutral undertone, even though it has the word peach in the title of this shade. You would assume that it would be, for the peachy side, more of a warm tone blush, but I don't feel that that is the case here. If anything, I would say that this is more cool heavy. So very many skin tones will be able to get away with this blush. And again, these come in lots of different shades with cool and warm undertones, so there definitely will be one to suit every skin. Really lovely. Moving on to radiant blushes, which is my personal preference. Now, once again, let me highlight that there will be no heavy particles of glitter in these blushes. For me, I don't like that. I want something that's more subtle, that will give me that radiant glow without the sparkle. The first one I want to mention is another Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Divine Blush, but again, this one has a radiant finish. This one has a warm undertone and it's in the shade Nude Venus. If you're wanting something with a cooler undertone, I definitely recommend Nymphette. Nymphette has the same level of depth, the same radiance, but a cool undertone. So there's definitely a couple of choices here, and there's more on the website. So I love these. And unlike some other high-end brands, I feel you get what you pay for with the Pat McGrath line. So I don't feel duped every time I try anything out from the Pat McGrath line. It's just luxurious in price tag, but also luxurious when you get it through the door. Down to absolutely everything. The packaging, but the quality of the product is second to none. I love these. They are silky smooth, they blend out really well, they are pigmented, they don't look like powder on the skin, they're just lush. Really beautiful. They really are. I cannot stress enough. For me, they're worth the price tag. Glorious. Now, I didn't feel like I would be able to find another blush from another brand that was as luxurious as the Pat McGrath blushes. But I was wrong, because recently I went into my local Boots and I stumbled upon the Givenchy counter, and my favourite person in Boots, Paul, sold me this product, and let me tell you, this is my favourite blush out of all of the blushes that I'm going to talk about today. And it's slightly unusual for me because usually I either have a hard pressed blush powder or I have a cream or liquid blush. This is a loose powder blush and it does not disappoint. This is from Givenchy and it's their Prism Libra blush. And it's just divine. So these come in lots of different shades. I've gone for number 4, which is Organza Sienne or Sienna. Not quite sure. Anyway, it's number 4, but I think they do 6. So there are cool tone ones, there are ones for fair skin, there are ones for deeper skin, there are warm toned ones. This one actually has a little bit of everything, which is why I like it so much. So as you can see, it has those terracottas, but it also has those pinks and cool tone shades, as well as a little bit of warmth. This I can get away with as one of those bronzy items that also gives a hint of a bit of sunburn, but also one of those items that just melts into the skin that gives you that girly flush. It's just out of this world. It's multi-purpose and I adore it. I absolutely adore it. This is the one that I have on today. It just gives that subtle glow to the skin, very youthful, very easy to apply as well. And I think that's really important to mention because it's a loose powder. And loose powder has a tendency of going absolutely everywhere and being super, super pigmented that it's very difficult to blend out. This is not one of those. Definitely not one of those. Very easy to apply. I pop a tiny bit in the lid of the product and then swirl my brush in it, knock off the excess, dab a little bit on and then blend out, and never had an issue. It's stunning. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of Chantecaille. You all know I'm rather partial to anything Chantecaille. Let me just let you know that you get 4 lots of 1.5 grams in the Givenchy, which totals up to 6 grams in total. Whereas the Chantecaille, you're not getting as much. Not getting as much for your money, but they are gorgeous. They really are. So you're getting 2.5 grams in this little blush here. This one is in the shade Smitten and it has the little elephant on there. And my favourite one actually in this collection is Emotion, and that has a B on it. Now Emotion is a cool tone blush and Smitten is the warm tone blush. Both of them have a similar level of depth, but one is cool toned and one is warm toned, and I love them both. I can get away with them both, but like I said, Emotion with the little B on it is my favourite. These go on so beautifully, but you don't get very much product. You really don't. Is it worth it? Of course it is. Okay, so I don't feel like this would be an honest review unless I put my Hourglass ambient lighting blushes within this video, because regardless of what is happening with Hourglass at the moment, and we're not going to get into that in this video, these are still amazing blushes. Now I have a couple of shades here. I have Luminous Flush, this one which is more of a cool toned blush, and I've got this one here which is Dim Infusion, which is warmer toned. I love them both. Now these give really subtle radiance. They give that glow, that youthfulness to the skin. They give life back to the skin, as most radiant blushes do. I just feel like sometimes we take the life out of the skin by covering the skin over with a foundation or a tinted moisturizer, and you just need to add that life back into the skin with a bit of radiance, which is more natural. Our skin does look radiant, and these are a definite way of doing that. So beautiful. Now I don't reach for these as often anymore because I have the Givenchy blush. Quite frankly, I just want to use that constantly, day in, day out, and the Pat McGrath blushes as well. However, if I'm in a rush, I know these are going to do the job. I know these aren't going to steer me wrong. They are going to last all day. They definitely have staying power. These are the ones that I reach for because these are my comfort zone. I am definitely comfortable in the ambient lighting blush camp. It's my kind of camp. Okay, let's look at something a lot more affordable. This next blush is from e.l.f. and it's one of their primer infused shimmer blushes. Now, even though it says shimmer in the title of this blush, I don't feel like it's overly shimmery. There is a hint of sparkle in here, but there's not a lot of it. It's not overly glittery. The glitter in here is not as finely milled as the luxurious Hourglass, Givenchy, Chantecaille, Pat McGrath, but it's not going to make you look like a vampire in Twilight stepping out into the sun. It's just not going to do that. It's still very, very subtle. So this one is in the shade Always Cheery and it's beautiful. I'm actually on the fence what undertone this is. I would say neutral, verging slightly stronger to cool, but I keep changing my mind and that doesn't help everybody. I'm really sorry. I would say neutral cool, but I might be wrong. I'm sorry. And the last radiant blush, in fact the last blush in this video, goes to Milani. This is one of the baked blushes and it's in the shade Luminoso, which is 05. This is exquisite. It really is. Absolutely gorgeous. Slightly more radiance than any of the other radiant blushes that I've spoken about in this video. It's not as refined as the Hourglass, Givenchy, Chantecaille, Pat McGrath. Definitely more of a shimmer in here, but it really melts into the skin and, like I said, completely delightful. It's just beautiful. This is a warm toned blush. So, I mean, if you're after a warm tone blush and you're wanting to save a little bit of cash, this is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This has the right amount of elegance. It looks expensive. It looks way more expensive than it actually is. It just, the glow on the cheek, very girly, very youthful. It sublime is what I would say. Really, really lovely. So I hope you found this video helpful. Like I said, I will link all of the blushes that I've spoken about in this video in the description box. Alongside those descriptions will be a W for a warm undertone or a C for a cool undertone. If that sort of thing is really important to you, I hope you find that helpful. There will be another video to follow this one with all of my liquid and cream blushes in there. I will warn you, there are double the amount of products in that video that there are in this because I've really struggled to narrow down my favourites. There's some amazing cream and liquid blushes out there, there really are. So you will need to grab yourself a drink and get comfortable for that video. But anyway, that's in the very near future. I really hope to see you all in the next video. See you all later. Bye everyone.